Are y'all ready to get cray with some animation principles? I know I sure am. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add squash and stretch, anticipation, and slow ease in out to a moving ball. Let's get started. Follow along, please. To begin, I'm going to create a new solid by right-clicking in the timeline, New Solid. This first solid I'm going to make, I think I'll make it kind of a mid-gray. Now this solid is going to be our background, so we're going to name it accordingly. I'm going to select the solid, push enter, and give it a name like boring background. Very apt, because we need a blank slate to frame our exciting motion. Next, let's make our ball out of another solid. In the timeline, go New Solid, and now I'm going to pick a little more fun color, something a little electric with some personality, some kind of crazy neon purpley pink. This pink knows how to party. After Effects is calling it Magenta Solid, but I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it Party Ball. Do you remember how to use masks to create a ball out of a solid? To make your solid into a circle, select the solid you want that circle to appear on, go up to your rectangle tool, and remember, the rectangle tool is much more than it seems. We'll scroll down to the ellipse tool. Well, let's draw an ellipse on our solid while holding the shift key. That'll make it a perfect circle. Wow, that's a really nice contrast between the party pink and the gray background. A really nice contrast in excitement and color. The next thing we're going to do, which is very important, is move our anchor point. I'm going to select the party ball, and I'm going to use my pan behind tool. You can also use the hotkey Y for it. Select my anchor point and drag it over to the center of party ball. One more thing I think I'd like to do to make things a little clearer is to change the label of party ball. Currently, it's this drab red. Well, I think it needs to be more exciting. So I'm going to click the label on the layer, and what should we make it? Yellow. Ooh. Yellow is directly opposite of violet or purple on the color wheel. That gives us complementary colors. So now I'm going to position Party Ball where I would like the motion to begin. I'm going to use my pointer tool, V, and slide her over. Let's not start at the edge. Let's start right here. Okay, now let's animate her. I'm going to collapse the transformer because we don't need the masks, but we do need position. So I'm going to close that and hit P. We want to animate Party Ball, so we're going to turn on the stopwatch. We're going to then travel down the timeline to where we want Party Ball to stop moving. And then we'll add a keyframe. You can do that by clicking this diamond shaped here. This is the add or remove keyframe. If I didn't want this keyframe here, I could just hit delete, or could use this button to add or remove it. Alright, so now that we've got our keyframe and the playhead is over the keyframe we want to manipulate, let's slide all party ball down using the X position modifier. We'll just click and drag and scooch her down the line. And I think I would like to see the ball exit the frame. Let's put it right at the edge. Okay, then remember, we're going to preview our animation, but we only want to see the part we've animated, and that is going to be adjusted in the time ruler. So we're going to hit N for end, and that's going to slide the end of our time ruler or work area to where the playhead is. Let's preview by going over to the preview panel and hitting play. Now the first time it plays through, it may be a little chunky, and what it's doing is it's rendering the information of the animation into RAM. Once that initial rendering is finished, it'll play smooth as butter. So now we have a pink party ball moving across a gray field. I think this party ball needs to be unleashed. So which one of the 12 principles of animation can we use? Let's talk about squash and stretch. That'll give it some real dynamism. Now, I think Party Ball is a little lonely. Well, let's duplicate Party Ball and make her a friend, shall we? We select the Party Ball layer, you can hit Command D, and that will duplicate the layer. So now we have two. Let's make the second Party Ball a different color. So we have to adjust the solid. We go to Layer, Solid Settings, and instead of pink, let's make this one green. A shocking, toxic green. Nice. And then I also think we should change the color of the layer just to make sure we're keeping the two separate party balls straight. So I'm going to change the label. What's the opposite of green? Well, I do believe it's red. And let's change old boring gray background to sandstone. Since we're not going to be manipulating the boring background, we're going to make that layer shy by clicking the Shy button and selecting the little Kilroy was here icon to make the layer disappear from the timeline but not the composition. Let's open Party Ball 2's position modifier by hitting P. Now we're going to move Party Ball 2 down underneath Party Ball 1. We'll use the position modifiers, and instead of X, we'll use Y. Remember, X is horizontal, Y is vertical. So we'll just... uh-oh, we have a problem. We're moving the first keyframe of Party Ball, but not the second one. We haven't selected all of the keyframes to move, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to make sure Party Ball layer is selected, and then I'm going to click on the position modifier as well. You'll notice the keyframes have turned blue. That means we can move the totality of Party Ball, not just its corporeal form. Whoa, cool. Now to reset and deselect anything that you have selected, you can always click outside of the composition window or click in a blank spot in the timeline. So let's see what we've got. We have two exciting party balls moving in tandem across the field of gray. I'd like to defer for a moment to one of my oldest friends, Stinky Whizzleteats. He's going to help us understand the idea of why you need to squash and stretch things in animation. Take it away, Stinky.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your old pal, Stinky Whizzleteats. This is a song about a whale. No! This is a song about being happy. That's right. It's the happy, happy, joy, joy song. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy, joy, joy. I don't think you're happy enough. That's right.
So what is this squash and stretch business all about? This is a cartoon that was on in the 90s called Ren and Stimpy, done by the animator John Crickfalusi. He loves to squash and stretch and exaggerate his animated characters. The squashing and stretching adds a certain gravity and solidness to the objects that are moving. Let's watch Stimpy bounce into the scene, frame by frame. Here he comes. Wow, there's a lot happening when you look at an animation frame by frame. So as Stimpy is coming into the frame, he's kind of this stretched out ball of energy, zooming towards the floor. But then when he hits the floor, he squishes himself. Squish into a little puddle. Now this exaggerated motion is really fun to play with in animation, because the animated object is totally plastic. So why make something look like it's real when we can exaggerate it and make it look insane and fun? So as Stimpy is squishing into the ground, he then, boink, pops up. That's a really big jump there. But here he's squashed and here he's stretched. And then he kind of does a little bounce back to his... Here's another really good example of Ren and Stimpy dancing. Notice how their bodies squash and stretch as they move up and down. So let's look at that in slow-mo. So Ren is squashing himself and kind of expanding his form as he moves down and getting thicker. Then when he moves up, he's getting thinner. So this contrast creates a really interesting exaggeration. My God, he looks happy. And let's watch Stimpy do the same. As he moves down, he's getting squashed. And as he moves up, he's getting stretched. So we want to add this exciting principle to our friends, the party balls. Let's go back to After Effects.